about an issue that is on everybody's mind, education. And I'd like to thank all of you for coming out here, because you're showing, not just Loudoun County, not just Virginia, what a parents' movement looks like. And I'd also like to thank my team with Fight for Schools. They have been out there all day, every day, working on this recall. They're right back there in the blue tent. And they are the engine that is driving our organization forward. So if you're in Loudoun County and you haven't signed the recall petition, go back there to the blue tent. If you're in Fairfax County, you can go back there to the white tent. Now, I echo what Alicia said about coming to Loudoun County. I came to Loudoun County 3 years ago from Alexandria, and one of the things that led us here was the reputation of Loudoun County Public Schools as one of the best school systems in the country. But what we have found here is a drift away from excellence in education, a drift away from meritocracy, and a new mission where all students must finish in the same place. And we also found a school board that shows contempt and hostility to open meetings laws, to the First Amendment, to their own code of conduct. They mock parents, they ignore parents, they even have text messages where they declare war on parents. And they don't listen to anybody or cater to anybody except the special interests and the high-paid, taxpayer-funded consultants that are basically running our schools right now. And so that is why we are recalling this school board, because of their unwillingness to follow the laws that bind them and that require them to engage in transparency and accountability to their constituency. Now, unfortunately, these things have started to bleed into the classroom. We've seen teacher trainings where educators are instructed to look at children as part of an identity group, not as individuals with their own special talents, skills, goals, and hopes. We've seen controversial and divisive social issues and philosophies on how to look at the world as early as kindergarten. We've seen age-inappropriate materials through their Chromebooks, through the books they've been assigned in class. And now we have a generation of students that are afraid to speak up in class about their beliefs. They don't want to get a bad grade, they don't want to get canceled, they don't want to be put on this anonymous reporting tool for wrongthink. And that is not how you educate children of any age. Diversity of thought is so crucial. It allows for critical thinking and for our children to develop into future leaders. But you're also seeing these changes at a structural level. Loudoun Academies. This school board has taken a cleaver to the admissions process of Loudoun Academies. They've gotten rid of geometry as a prerequisite. They've gotten rid of several merit assessments as prerequisites, and they've reduced testing. And that sends a very clear message to the community, and especially to our growing immigrant community that makes up a very large portion of Loudoun Academies. And that is hard work, studying, practice are no longer the priorities of Loudoun County Public Schools. But unfortunately, it does not just end here in Loudoun County, it comes from Richmond. And you've seen it. They want to eliminate advanced math courses before 11th grade. They want to eliminate advanced diplomas. And they say this because of, quote, the inequities of math and the traditional biases associated with excellence in math. Well, they're going to have to work on that messaging, because we did a poll in Fairfax and Loudoun County 2 weeks ago. And the one thing that we found where everybody agreed, Republicans, Democrats, independents, is they are opposed to those measures.
That's right.
And you know who else is opposed to those measures? China. China is not worried about getting rid of meritocracy in math. China has been outperforming the United States in every metric: reading, writing, math, science. But it's not just China. Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, Estonia, Finland, Canada, to name a few. Now I'm going to do something unpopular. I'm going to quote a Democrat, JFK. He said, "Our progress as a nation can be no swifter than our progress in education. And if we continue to fall behind these countries, we will be also-rans at the world stage in the future." Now, I want to say a brief word about history, because I keep seeing all these arguments that if you're opposed to, Virginia or Loudoun County's push towards equity or critical race theory, that you don't want accurate history taught. Nothing could be further from the truth. The histories of the United States and Virginia are complex, as are all histories. There is no utopian society out there where everywhere has been a perfect step all the time. They don't exist, they won't exist. And yes, it is very important that we look at the mistakes we have made in our history. The whats, the whens, especially the whys and the hows, so we do not repeat them. But we cannot solely judge our history through this negative lens. We lose all the stories of bravery, courage, character in the face of insurmountable odds from ordinary people committed to a more perfect union and valuing life, liberty, and happiness for all. Now, I wasn't born in Virginia. I've been here for about 8 years. I grew up in New England. Spent most of my adult life in Boston. And Boston, if you live in Massachusetts, they call it the hub, meaning the hub of the universe, because that's very much sort of the attitude there. And there are several reasons for that. And so I don't upset my team at Fight for Schools. I'm not going to spend any time discussing the 6 Super Bowls. But But I will talk about how Boston was the spark that lit the fire that gave rise to this nation. You can't go anywhere in Boston without seeing that, without being reminded of it. But when you got down to the Second Continental Congress in 1775, that's where Virginia had to take the lead. Washington, Jefferson, Patrick Henry, Richard Henry Lee, George Wythe, the Declaration of Independence, they were crucial in unifying the colonies, declaring independence, and defeating Great Britain. And then when we ratified the Constitution, again, it was one Massachusetts president in between 4 Virginia presidents at the start of our nation. And they led us to the beginning of where we are now. And now it is time for Virginia to lead again. The eyes of the nation are on this state, especially when it comes to education. And we need to recommit to excellence in education, to building hardworking students that are mentally tough, competitive, compassionate, and committed to achieving the best that their skills will allow them to achieve. And it's up to us as parents, it is up to teachers, and it is up to the school system to get that done. We cannot wait for leadership. Now is the time. Carpe diem, we need to seize the day before it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Next, we have Delegate John McGuire.
Loudoun County, I couldn't be more proud of you and Alicia and everyone else for standing up and being an example and for pushing back for not only Virginia, but our nation. I think we would all agree our children are number one. And I just wish these radical leftists loved our children more than they hate our country. What do you guys think about critical race theory? How many of you are sick and tired of this anti-American agenda that they are spreading throughout the Commonwealth and our country. I'm telling you, our country was founded in the church, and we believe that our rights come from God, not a piece of paper, and not a man. We are very blessed to live in America. Life is tough, but it's amazing. Isn't it great we live in a country where a man or a woman can work hard, a man or a woman of any race, religion, or creed can work hard and achieve just about anything. Life is tough, but it's a miracle and it must be protected. I know something about that. I was born and raised in Virginia, and I was abandoned as a child. And by the way, my name is John McGuire, and I'm running for re-election in the Virginia House of Delegates. And by the way, I have Patrick Henry's seat. He was the voice of the revolution. I've got some big shoes to fill. I promise you I'm much better with a rifle than giving a speech, but I hope I can make you proud today. But I was abandoned as a child. I ended up in foster homes. I attended 9 different elementary schools. But I worked hard, and I became one of the youngest snipers in Navy SEAL history. I started a business from scratch that my family members and Navy SEAL brothers told me would never work. And now we're training corporate teams and people in push-ups and sit-ups and leadership and teamwork all over the world. My wife and I have 5 children. She says I'm number 6. But we have to all agree that our children are number 1. And by the way, if you are law enforcement, if you are a veteran, will you raise your hand? Let's give them a round of applause. You know, we wouldn't have a country without you. Thank you so much for your service. As long as we have men and women willing to lay down their life for us, we will continue to have a country. So thank you again for that. I really appreciate it. Well, I think our military brothers, our law enforcement brothers and sisters will certainly relate to what I'm about to say. In the military, we always say if somebody saved your life on the battlefield, would you care about their skin color? Would you care if they were male or female? Would you care if they were tall or short or fast or slow? I wouldn't care about their political views or even their religious views. But the great thing about the country is this is the greatest land of opportunity, again, where you can work hard and achieve just about anything. But these radical leftist policies have turned our lives upside down and inside out, especially for our children. What do you guys think about defund the police? You know, as a legislator, I put in a bill last year to put an armed police officer in every public school in Virginia. And they killed it. And I understand here in Loudoun County, they're trying to remove your SROs. Is that right? It's just unbelievable. If our children are number 1, we have to keep them safe. What do you guys think about a school board system that uses words like equity to eliminate advanced classes and advanced diplomas? What do you guys think about that? And they're doing that because they're saying that they're racist. But what they're really doing is they're making Virginia children less competitive with the 49 other states. Does that make any sense to you guys? I'm going to tell you, you guys have some choices to make in November. What do you guys think about critical race theory? It basically teaches our kids to hate one another. I'm going to tell you what, we live in an incredible country where everyone has an opportunity if they work hard. And you cannot fight hate with more hate. And you cannot fight racism with more racism. I think you guys would all agree with me, especially the mothers, that we need more love. What do you think? Well, listen, what I would say is, I'm going to say it again, is I just want to know when these radical leftists are going to love our children more than they're going to hate our country. Everybody say, we the people. We the people. I'm going to give you some good news. We the people have a decision to make in November. And we have a point guard. We have a quarterback. We have a leader coming our way. And he is unlike the dividers we've had for years in Virginia. He's a uniter. A good leader brings people together and leads them to a better place, not a worse place. And that leader, and by the way, as a Navy SEAL, as a father, as a leader in our community, as a business owner, I know a leader when I see one. And that leader is Glenn Youngkin. Now, I'm a constitutional conservative. And again, people ask me all the time, are you a Democrat or Republican? I tell them I'm an American. And that message is what resonates with me, and that's Glenn Youngkin. He plans to be your governor to serve all Virginians. He's going to make sure everyone, especially our children, can grow up and live, work, and raise their families in peace. He's going to make sure that they are taught how to think, not what to think. So ladies, everybody say, we the people.
We the people!
Here's what we need for a better future for Virginia, which we all want because our children are number one. We need you to pray for our candidates. We need you to pray for our Commonwealth. We need you to pray for our country. I need you to get outside your comfort zone. That's where we grow. So I need you to get involved and volunteer. I need you to knock doors, make phone calls, write letters, tell your neighbors, tell your golf buddies, tell your bingo club. Hey, get them out there to vote. We need all hands on deck. And we need you to chip in. Some can give a little, some can give a lot. But not me, but we, with Glenn Youngkin and Winsome Sears. Is she amazing? And by the way, just like Alicia Andrews, by the way, I'm a big Alicia Andrews fan. Just like Alicia Andrews, Winsome Sears is a Marine. And we all know you can never have enough Marines around. So ladies and gentlemen, I love you. It is an honor to be your voice in the General Assembly. I hope you'll re-elect me. I hope you'll give Glenn Youngkin a majority in the House of Delegates. And I hope we'll elect Glenn Youngkin for the governor, Winsome Sears for lieutenant governor, and Jason BRS for attorney general. Thank you for an opportunity to speak. I just want to say again, I love all of you. I love our country. God bless you. God bless our Commonwealth. And God bless America. Thank you.
I agree, you can never have too many Marines, right, Vincent?
That's right.
I agree. We come in a pack. We find each other. All right, next we have a very special treat, an educator, here to tell you a little bit about what she's experienced, Miss Julie Perry.
Hey, how's everybody doing? All right, yes. So basically, I'm a teacher right here in Northern Virginia. I'm a public school teacher that's a Republican. Yes, we exist. And I'm also running for House of Delegates. I'm running because I've had a front row seat to see what's going on in these schools, and it's not good. This past year, I've had a front row seat to seeing the consequences of virtual learning. Boy, that was not a good situation. When we finally came back to school in March, I had a lot of students, their grades went from F's to C's and even B's. It tells you how important in-person learning really is. The other thing, too, is I'm seeing this word equity. Did you guys know that teacher evaluations, actually the General Assembly just added a standard to the teacher evaluations across the state of Virginia? So now we are going to be evaluated on this standard called equity. That has nothing to do with how we're teaching students to perform. A lot of teachers are terrified of this standard, but they're terrified to speak up because it's very dangerous to say you're a teacher and you're against this. It really is. And so basically, teachers are going to be forced to teach your kids to be divided. It's very uncomfortable to say to one student, you need to check your privilege, and to the other student, you're a victim. I have a learning disability, and it takes me longer to get things. When I was a kid, it took me longer to understand concepts. But if my teachers made me out to be a victim, I wouldn't be here today. And so we have to stop. We can't, telling a kid to check his privilege or her privilege and telling a kid that you're a victim, he or she's a victim, is terrible for both. What we need to do is encourage our kids to do our best. I can tell you, I'm in front of normally, 25 kids in a classroom, and I can tell you one size does not fit all. I'll have one student that is a fast learner, They finish things quickly, and I'll have another student that takes longer. That's normal. That's just the way we are. That's the way God made us. We were all made different. We were not meant to be the same. Just because, and you know what? The thing I really struggle with is the math thing as well. 3 years ago, I had a student who really struggled with reading and writing. The only SOL she could pass was a math SOL. And she was very good at math. And so she would constantly say, "Miss Perry, look what I got on my math test." And she was very proud of it. And I thought about her when they wanted to take away the advanced math courses before 11th grade. I'm like, students like her would not be able to shine in their talents, and that was just very heartbreaking for me. This girl still has a special place in my heart to this day. And you know what? She still keeps in touch with me. And you know what? She's going to be 20 soon. So, you know what? We gotta shine for our best. We gotta love this country. We gotta teach our kids to love this country. And the last reason I'm running is because I want my students to see that if you're not happy with something, get out and get involved in the community. Run for office. You don't need to burn down a city. You don't need to loot, and you don't need to riot. Thank you.
What a teacher we have in Northern Virginia, right? All right, next we have the General Lady.
Hey guys, it's Joe. Hey, Virginians, you guys are a beautiful bunch. Thanks so much for coming out to support the next governor of Virginia, and along those lines, can we just give it up for sometimes the man in the arena is a woman? We've got Alicia Andrews has run, we've got Julie Perry's run, we've got courageous Marines, even though they could have joined the Army, but Marines like Lindsay back here running, we've got Sarah White running for delegate. Sometimes the man in the arena is a woman. I know, she's got my 6, I'm not but seriously, everyone is speaking about education. And we're not going to listen to the plane, we're going to listen to Joe Mobley. Joe Mobley, remember that? Guys, education is important, and for too long, we can't blame Democrats and we can't blame the president, whoever the president is, for too long. Us, we the people, we have let things in Loudoun County and Fairfax and Arlington and Northern Virginia go nuts. And Richmond and Virginia Beach, usually controlled by one party, but we let them go nuts. We let them go crazy. These are our schools, our school boards. The Commonwealth is ours. And like Ian said, I don't believe Massachusetts led. Virginia has led this nation from the beginning. Okay? James Madison, Washington, from the beginning. And here we are. It's our moment again to lead. And there are a lot of courageous people, the speakers, the people who've been speaking in this building back here, on the must-see TV that's become our school board meetings. Guys, you have to do the right thing in the ballot box, not just for Glenn, because we're all voting for Glenn, the next governor of Virginia, but for your school board races. You've got to do the right thing at the ballot box, and I'm stepping on your applause so we can get done before the rain. So, but seriously, let's think about what's been done. We're getting rid of advanced diplomas. We're getting rid of advanced math. And other states, and frankly other nations, they're pursuing excellence. They're pursuing STEM. They're pursuing math that we haven't even come up with because they're going after excellence. They're going for the next rung on the ladder. And what we've done is cut the ladder in half. Literally, we've cut the ladder in half. When 88 schools failed accreditation, they changed the standard, and then just one school fails accreditation. That means that the accreditation failed. That means that we failed. The 87? Sorry, I was educated in Virginia, so math. That 87 schools magically got better? Of course not. Julie told you about the students' grades. We are doing a disservice, and it's going to destroy our children's future, okay? My about to be 4 children, so thank you to my wife, wherever you are, out there. She's here somewhere. for teaching those precious kids because I can't trust the Loudoun County, public school administration to do it. But what we're doing is a disservice that is going to manifest when these kids graduate. If they go to college, if they go straight to the workforce, let me tell you something. Lockheed Martin and Prospecta and all of these technology firms in the DC Metroplex, they don't care where you came from. They care that you know how to do the math. They care that when you send the thing to Mars, it doesn't crash into it. Okay? What are we going to do? Are we going to strip our children's ability to compete for these jobs, to compete for these opportunities? Because the rest of the states and the rest of the nation, especially not China, the rest of the nations out there, they are not cutting their ladder in half. They're going for the next rung. All right? Glenn's not promising the moon. He's promising making Virginia the best place to work, raise a family, and what's the other thing, Glenn?
Live.
And live. Thank you. To live, work, and raise a family. Let's do it with them. We're in the crucible now. The crap is rising to the top. Let's scrape it off like it says in James 1, that meaning of the word testing. We're being tested now. Guys, the test is over. The fire's been lit. Let's scrape the soot off, and then our silversmith can look and see a pure reflection in a great state. Sorry, state, Commonwealth, I know, don't boo me. Of Virginia. Thanks, guys.
Now I'd like to welcome someone who's become a very dear friend of mine. Some of you know him by lots of different names. He's been called a little bit of everything. I like to call him the Mad Dad of Loudoun County. But most people know him as Brandon Michon.
Hello, everyone. I'm here this evening because I believe that Glenn Youngkin is the person that believes in our children and values their education. Earlier this year, I spoke to the school board that meets right behind me, and I told them to figure it out and raise the freaking bar. I grew up in Loudoun County. I went to elementary school, middle school here, high school. I'm a proud graduate of Loudoun Valley High School. It used to be an honor to be educated in Virginia and Loudoun County. It used to be something that you wore with a badge of honor and differentiated you from other places. Unfortunately, that standard has deteriorated over the last few years. One of the greatest takeaways from this shutdown was the online schooling. Not the online schooling part, but the fact that the curtain got pulled back on the education in Virginia. Parents saw what was going on in the classroom and the deficiencies that were happening. And they saw what their kids were learning and they just didn't like it. The message from current leadership has been, it's okay to be mediocre. Dumb it down. No need for higher math, no need for higher education or advanced degrees. No need to excel. We should be teaching our kids to be educators, rocket scientists, mechanics, business owners, and achieve greatness through their education and to push to be the best. Fortunately, the weather doesn't look like it's holding up here. So how did we get here and what do we do from this? It's a question I've asked myself over the last 6 months. Was it purposely planned? Was it by accident? Maybe, maybe not. Was it all of our faults in some ways? I think so. We took our eye off the ball and let an easy pop fly fall. Our education system's breakdown is an example of the failed leadership and highlights the importance of state and local elected officials, and that parents need to be involved. Over the last 6 months, I've got to know Glenn Youngkin. I think he's the leader that we need for this Commonwealth. He is a parent. He is a man of integrity. He understands the value of hard work. He knows how to lead and what it takes to do so. As a governor of Virginia, he will put our children and their education first.